If you want to know how to use color correctors, keep on watching. If you're still unsure how color correction works, in this video I'm going to break down in a simple way for you to understand which colors you need to neutralize redness, dark circles, and any yellowness on the skin. Color correction is based on the color wheel. So the color wheel is a tool that us makeup artists use all the time to correct imperfections on the skin. So when people say to you, you need to use a peach corrector, that's because you're trying to neutralize blues. So peach correctors will come in different shades. If you have light skin, you're going to be reaching out to something like this. If you have a tan skin, this is the tone you're going to be looking for. And if you have darker skin, this is the shade you'll be looking at. Now, I guess the question a lot of people don't answer is why they neutralize each other. Let me just show you. Orange and blue neutralize each other because they create brown, and brown is a neutral shade. The reason why it makes brown is because mixing the blue and the orange, you're actually mixing all the three primary colors together. In makeup artistry, we use red, yellow, and blue as our primary colors. So that means when you mix all three of them, you make a neutral brown. And this is exactly what happens here because the orange is made of yellow and red. And when you mix the blue, you're actually creating brown, which is a neutral shade. So you see how the blues and the oranges are sitting in the same family. So this peach color will correct a really pale blue. A medium tone will correct a medium tone. And a much deeper shade will correct a deeper shade. So if you mix them very, very gently, you start getting brown. And remembering, because the blue is really strong, you don't actually use too much. You just use a little bit of the blue, and then you mix with that orange, and you make a neutral shade. And the same thing here, when we got a bit of that, and then we mix, they all make a really nice neutral shade. So that's the reason why they cancel each other out. So to correct my dark circles, I'll be using a peach tone like this. And I'll use a brush like that. And then you apply just where the imperfection is. If I have darkness under my eyes, I'm just going to push the product just where the darkness is. You don't want to add a peach tone in all the areas of your face if it doesn't need to be corrected, because otherwise it will show through the foundation. I already have foundation, but just so you can see where you would be applying. And I apply a little bit on this side too. Now, if I have a lot of redness on my face, let's just pretend here for a second. So I have a lot of redness, and here I have a little bit of redness, okay? So the difference here actually represents your skin tone. If you have a really light, pale skin tone, you have probably like just a tiny little bit of redness. Some people have rosacea and have really deep discoloration like that. You actually need a different tone of green to neutralize that. Red and green sit opposite to each other on the color wheel, and that's why we're going to be using green to neutralize the redness. The shade of green will depend on the depth of your skin. So if you have light skin, you're probably going to look for something that has a green undertone or an olive undertone, not exactly a bright green like this. For redness like this, you can actually use a much intense green. So just to show you, I'm gonna use this one, and see how I'm just getting a little bit on my finger. It does look a little bit yellow, but that's fine because there is yellow in green. And what you're gonna do, you're just going to start pushing that product on top of that redness, okay? So I'm just going very gently, and I'm gonna build that color until that redness kind of disappears. You can see how slowly that color starts to disappear. And that's the thing with the color theory. It's not magic. It's just understanding the colors and the undertones, and it can actually correct and fix anything. You see that redness almost gone. And again, the green I'm using is a really light green because that corresponds to the redness I had there. It was just a little bit of redness, not too much. Now, to correct this redness here, you need a much more intense green. I still feel like this green might be a little bit too strong, so I'm just going to mix a little bit here. And we're going to start adding a little bit. And I'm applying with this finger, and I'm blending with the other one because I need to first see how much of that green I'm going to need. Now, what you're going to see that's going to start happening, we're going to make brown. And because this is much darker than my skin tone, you can actually see the color sitting on top of my skin, okay? And you see how slowly that redness disappears. Again, this is not magic, it's just color theory. Okay, so we're gonna blend that really well until it disappears. So you see how the intensity of color is quite important as well. So you can actually make that redness disappear just depending on the color that you're actually putting on top. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see, but I can see that brown sitting right here. So to fix that, I just need to add a little bit of white. So I just got a little bit of white, again, a little bit on my finger, and I'm just gonna apply that on top of that brownish color. Because I can you see how much lighter that looks? See how that now blends into my foundation really nicely? So again, color theory, it's all about understanding the colors. So again, the reason why the green and the red complement each other is because green contains yellow and blue, and the red is the third complementary color. So when you blend all of them together, you create a neutral shade. Now, and the exact same thing happens with yellow. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of yellow, and that will be if you have a foundation that's a little bit too yellow for your skin tone. You're probably seeing a lot around on social media, a lot of people doing that, but they're not actually explaining why these colors actually neutralize each other. So I'm just gonna blend that in. I blend that in a little bit so you can see now what it would look like if I apply a purple corrector. So a purple corrector will work exactly the same way. I am here just mixing colors just so I can actually show you, but I have two different tones. Here you can see a really light and a darker one. The light one is a little bit too fair for my skin, so I am just applying the other one. You see a little bit, and we're gonna start blending that to make sure that the yellow disappears. So then again, it's not magic. It's all about understanding the colors and how they actually interact when you mix them together. So I'm blending a little bit more. I can still see a little bit of yellow in it. Now I'm just gonna apply a tiny little bit more, like that. And I'm just going to blend a little bit more. And then this way you can see how you can actually make colors disappear on your skin, okay? And this is the principle of color theory. When you're actually neutralizing something, you're basically mixing all the three primary colors together, and they're always gonna give you a neutral shade. Okay, so I decided to take my makeup off so I can actually show you how to use it. So for my under eye circles, I'm getting this brush with that orange, that kind of mid peachy color. And I'm just gonna push that on my skin. My skin is a bit red now because it's a little bit irritated, but I'm just gonna show you first dark circles. Have one side and the other. Again, just remember that you need to apply the color corrector just where the pigmentation is. I don't want to bring that all the way out on my eye. I just want to keep this here. Okay, so now you can see all that redness I have on my cheeks. So I'm getting that green. And can you see how I am applying that on real redness and making that disappear? Again, the shade of the green will make a difference on how much it will cover your redness. And see, I'm applying a really thin layer as well. I get the product, see, I take the excess off, and I have a tiny bit on my finger. And I like to just like push the product on the skin as well. You can use a brush if you prefer, but I just find that this way I can actually have a little bit more control where I'm correcting and what I'm doing to the skin before I go over with foundation and everything else, okay? So you can see how that redness is gone. I do have redness here, and that side is completely gone. Now I'm just going on the other side. And we're gonna do the same thing. So pushing that. And I'm going to apply a thin layer all over my nose as well. I have a little bit of redness just there as well. And that's how you apply that color corrector to the skin.